Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Jay. I wanted to talk a little bit about something that went on today. In the case of Ahmaud Arbery, the young man who was gunned down February of last year by the father and son uh, duo of Gregory and Travis McDonald. Those two men have received justice. He has received justice, and those two men were sentenced to life imprisonment in the state of Georgia. So, shouts out, shouts out and congratulations, and of course, condolences to the family of Ahmaud Arbery because these two men basically hunted this young man while he was just out jogging. I mean, we all remember. Hey, Lisa, we all remember the case. It was brutally horrific. It it was like okay, for the longest we've been saying that uh, us in the social justice movement have been saying that they out here hunting three men. Okay, yeah, Lisa, thank you for that. I forgot it. It was just the father and son duo, but it was another guy. They've been out here hunting uh, black men like cattle, and right here in front of the world during the time of the pandemic, uh, they actually literally did that. You know what I mean? They actually literally hunted down him while he was just out jogging and shot him in front of everybody, in front of the world. And it was a shock to people in a similar way that Floyd became a shock a month or so later because everybody's attention was on it. There was no diversions. Everything was on lockdown at that time. You know what I mean? So people's minds and attentions were on it, and they finally saw what us in the social justice movement, the real social justice movement, the ones that be out there in the front lines, not the ones that hopped on some Twitter campaign, later on, like they called the social justice warriors, but the real ones, we've been saying it all along that they was. This happened before George Floyd. Lisa, George Floyd, I believe, happened in March or March or April, um, and this happened in February. This was the first big major news event uh, that went down after the pandemic. So everything was already on lockdown. People were already attentions were already focused on the news. We didn't have no entertainment at that time. So okay, my mistake was Floyd's thing happened in May, and this happened in February. We didn't have no entertainment at that time, so everybody's attention was focused on the death of this young man, to the point where I even watched Ben Shapiro that morning, the morning when the news broke about Ahmaud Arbery, and even he, who always sticks up for the people that shoot these innocent black men, and he always sticks up for the white side, right? He pretty much always rides with the white side of the argument. Even he had to be like, this was really messed up. They talk about they had a citizen's arrest of the guy First of all, the father and the son, they wasn't even a cop. So how the hell you go up to try to arrest somebody? Citizens arrest, that's some bullshit, man. You're not even a cop. You're taking on the responsibilities of a police officer, and you're not even a cop, man. You have no right to hunt down um, another innocent person and kill them like they're an animal. You know. So it was a precursor of Ahmaud Arbery's case of things to come, and I'm glad that he got justice because lately what's been going on, like with the Kyle Rittenhouse case, Kyle Rittenhouse, the people that Kyle Rittenhouse killed did not get justice, and Kyle got off scot free. So I'm glad these guys, the father and the son and the other guy that killed, didn't get off scot free. When it's Thanksgiving Eve, and the best Thanksgiving present, besides having her actual son there, that the family and the mother of Ahmaud could have gotten is this verdict. Rest in peace to Ahmaud Arbery. And again, it just goes to show you. It just goes to show you. Don't try to take the law in your own hand on some vigilante justice type shit, because depending on the state you are and depending on the judge, you will be found against me. Yeah. Uh, right. They said, yeah. Lisa is absolutely correct. That was the same scenario with George Zimmerman. He was a neighborhood patrol, neighborhood watchman, and he tried to act like a cop. Um, People try, like with Kyle Rittenhouse, try to take the law in his own hands. Somebody told him, somebody told him that their store was being looted in the protests of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, and he went to go take the law into his own hands, and he literally ended up shooting multiple people. But unfortunately, he wasn't found. His case was completely something different. But with this case, uh, I'm happy. You know what I mean? Because hey, it goes to show people you cannot try to take the law into your own hands. Vigilante justice, like some Bernard Getz shit, like Bernard Getz in the 1980s, um, did the same thing when the guys allegedly tried to rob him on the train and he shot them. You know what I mean? You can't try to take the law into your own hands. There are procedures, there's ways to go about it when you feel that your life is threatened. But in this case, even that's BS because he was just jogging. You know what I mean? He wasn't like, what about him other than his race and his size gave these men, the Travis and Gregory McDonald, what gave them the impression that um he was going to try to do something to them? Nothing. He was just excuse me, doing his morning jogging. So if this judge would have let these guys off, it would have seemed like a tremendous bias on his part. So I'm glad he didn't, you know what I mean? Because if he did, there's no telling how people's Thanksgiving weekend would have turned out. You know what I mean? Because the anger of the people, yeah, that was the thing they said, a case of robbery in the neighborhood. But see, when when cops make that mistake, when actual police officers make that mistake, people are like, well, they have a tough job. They make mistakes like that. Like, for example, 1990, I point to people to 1999, New York. Amadou Diallo was accused of rape. And then when he pulled out his wallet, um, they shot him 41 times. But see, those were police officers. So they give them a certain amount of leeway, even though it could be argued, hey, they shouldn't do that. Even though they're police officers, they still shouldn't hide behind their badge. But these guys were doing a citizen's arrest, which, again, some BS. You can't. I mean, you can, but doing a citizen's arrest because of something you think, your suspicions. That yeah. Lisa saying that they had him on a video running, looking in an abandoned building that had been robbed previously. Okay, but we all go past things and we all look at things. Just because he looked into an abandoned building, I'm not saying you, Lisa, are saying that, but I'm saying playing the devil's advocate, saying, well, okay, well, if they should have been minding their own business with him, he should have been minding his own business, looking into an abandoned building. How many times have you been on the road and an accident happens and you look over? So what? You deserve to die because of that? Of course not. You know. So um, yeah. So they didn't really have a weak. I mean, they had a weak defense. There was nothing they really could have said, to the point where even conservative commentators that go out of their way, they do matrix like backflips to try to defend people. Yeah, I know you are. So I know you are. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying the rationale of the judge, like, you know what I mean? He's gonna say, well, you say this man should be minding his own business. Y'all should have been minding your own business. But um, yeah, there was no way to even conservative commentators. I mean, Candace Owens didn't even chime in and defend uh, Gregory and Travis McDonald. So, uh, when Candace Owens and Charleston White and all these people that always, and Ben Shapiro, that always defend, the usual suspects, if you will, don't chime in and they don't defend uh, the guilty party, then then it must really be it must really be guilty. There is no defense. There is no way to defend it. So anyway, I'm happy for the family of Ahmaud Arbery and the, the lawyer. Yeah, yeah. To prevent, Lisa says she wished that the judge would have said the guy should have mind their own business. They had to prevent other similar events like this happening, to where it ties into the Kyle Rittenhouse case, because, okay, if people don't mind their own business and they try to be on some superhero shit, you know what I mean? Like Kyle Rittenhouse or like these guys. First of all, what if you don't be on some superhero shit and you're wrong that wasn't the suspect? Like with them, they assume he was out there to steal. He was in front of an abandoned building, but he was just jogging. And he happened to, be jogging and glanced over, and then they shot him. You know what I mean? So, So you be on some superhero shit, watching a little bit too many movies, and you think that you're entitled or you're above the law because of privilege, and now you go out there and you kill an innocent person or innocent people, try to take the law in your own hands, some vigilante justice type shit, and you will get dealt with. You know, we don't have the right as American citizens to take the law into our own hands, folks. Yes, people will say, well, okay, what about the cases like Alpo with street justice or whatever? Okay, that's something different. You got me there, but they are people, they're people that operate outside of the bounds of the law. So you can't compare them to, you know what I mean, what we're talking about here. You know what I mean? Yes, the streets have their own justice and they deal with the things they deal with in their world. But in the system of legality, in the normal system that we deal with as everyday Americans, law abiding citizens, if you will, we don't have the right to take the law into our own hands. People need to stop watching uh, these action movies where these guys like Charles Bronson and shit, and the one that The Rock played, Walking Tall, where they start becoming like these superheroes and start just shooting all the bad guys, you know, on some Steven Seagal type stuff. That's not reality. What's gonna happen to you if you try to do something like that is exactly what happened to these men. You know, so point in case being, you shouldn't even be snitching and doing some Karen shit. Like again, 20, 2020 last year was the year of the Karens, where people thought that they could get involved in other people's business and wrongfully accuse them. There was a guy in New York just watching birds, and some lady called on him. Okay, yeah, I can't even watch birds now in New York City. You know what I mean? So, right, Karens and Kens. Lisa said people that are nosy bodies and people that want to get into other people's business. That is not on code, y'all. That is not what we do here. You know what I'm saying? Because you could either get yourself caught up, get yourself locked up like these guys, or in some cases, depending on the situation, you could get yourself fucked up or killed. You know, which happens to a lot of Karens and Kens as well. So, moral of the story: mind your own business, do your own thing. Um, we're not out here trying to be exemplary citizens. We just out here trying to do the right thing and trying to survive and keep our heads above water, especially last year when we were dealing with COVID. We're not superheroes. We're not on some Charles Bronson shit. We're not on some Walking Tall shit. That was just a movie. You know what I'm saying? Call of Duty is just Call of Duty. Kid like Kyle Rittenhouse was watching too much of Call of Duty, watching too many action movies, getting this stuff in his mind that he was gonna be some type of hero, and the people were gonna praise him for doing something incredibly stupid. He got away because the people attacked him first, but it was a technicality, in my opinion. Vigilante justice is never a good idea. It's sort of like what happened in New York City at the Survivor Series when that kid. I mean, it's completely different, but it's similar. So that's, I'm gonna say it's. I mean, nobody died. He jumped. Oh, he jumped over a barricade and attacked Seth Rollins. Yeah, it's a completely another story. Lisa says, "Oh, they they are praising Kyle Rittenhouse. Yeah, because he was one of them, and he did what they wanted to do, and he got away with it. You know what I'm saying? He got away with it on a technicality um because he was young and because they attacked him first. But why was he even down there? In another case, the guys from Charlottesville are going to be prosecuted. The day of reckoning is coming around, y'all. It's coming around, and um, it ain't gonna be pretty, you know. So these Karens and these Kens that out here thinking shit is sweet and thinking it's a game that they could do this kind of stuff, interfere in people's lives and try to get people caught up and try to get people killed. Oh, I'm gonna go out there. Uh, the Unite the Right rally, these 2016, the Heather Heyer situation. They're now bringing those people to trial. Um, the people that organized the march. Remember with the Robert E. Lee statue, the Confederate flag statue. They're now bringing those people to trial. Not the guy, not James Fields Jr. that ran over the girl. The people like Matthew Heimbach and hopefully too Richard Spencer. Yeah, yeah. I'll send you the article. Uh, I'll send you the article later on about that. Yeah, they're just having it right now. I'm talking about the organizers, you know. And they went, and they're another case. They went down there trying to be heroes too, trying to save history as they saw it, trying to save the history of Robert E. Lee. That day of vigilante justice and vigilante groups like the KKK, because that's how the KKK started out. They started off as a vigilante group that quote unquote wanted to restore Southern justice after the Civil War. That day of those vigilante groups taking the law into their own hands and not going through the proper procedures and trying to be heroes and shit, that day is coming to a close, buddy. So we're not doing that now. And hopefully Ahmaud Arbery's case is one brick in the wall to overcoming that. But yeah, no vigilante justice. And I'm glad that Ahmaud Arbery's family, like I said, this Thanksgiving Eve, got a little bit of justice. It's not the same thing. He's still resting in peace, resting in heaven. But I'm glad they got a little bit of justice. And when those guys go behind the wall, they're in Georgia, so they better have some backup because, or they better stay protected, right? Just saying, peace. Love you guys. Yeah, they're already old. Lisa, you're right, but what I'm saying, what I'm saying is they're in Georgia, so the demographics not really on their side in the Georgia prisons. I'm not sure, but being as though they're in a high profile case against an innocent black man, yeah. they better hide behind uh, various prison organizations like the Aryan Brotherhood to protect themselves within those walls. Because if they don't, if they get caught alone, and African American inmates that are doing life behind bars catch them, it's a wrap for them. Peace. Then they'll get dealt with citizens' justice, like they wanted to dish out to poor innocent Ahmaud Arbery. Love you guys.